Welcome back. Time now for us to go viral, sponsored by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Check out Bears defensive end Khalil Mack showing off the impressive strength, knocking down his coach. Imagine blocking against him for an entire game.
Look at the season he had, missing all off-season workouts, all the training camp. I expect Khalil Mack to have an amazing season this year.
Right, and his numbers are unbelievable despite it during the year missing a few games with injury. He was, when you see 2 first-round picks for a non-quarterback, when you see that price paid, you see, man, you better come. What do you have, strip sack in 4 straight games to start the year? He was unbelievable. If Trubisky can take a little bit of a leap ahead, being the number 2 pick of the draft, they could be really, really good in a really tough division.
All right, time now for some stories to start your morning. NFL.com released its list of the top 100 players in the league, and the 2-time reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald, was ranked number 1. See, did the players get this right?
Man, he's a bad man. He's a bad man. It's hard to make a defensive lineman almost impossible. To get that type of respect, to me, the players, they know what they're talking about. They watch the games, and they watch that coach's
miss games of the regular season, and the Cowboys desperately don't want to go into the regular season without him, and they honestly don't even want to go into the regular season with him, but with him having missed all of training camp. How many players have we seen miss training camp, particularly at that position, and then either start slow or suffer some sort of soft tissue injury?
Le'Veon always started slow.
A hamstring injury, absolutely. And so this is not ideal for either party. I am surprised that they are, according to Jane Slater, who's been all over this, that they seem to be not close on anything, that Zeke values himself at Todd Gurley plus X, and evidently the Cowboys right now are valuing him at Todd Gurley minus Y, and so that's a big problem, and it's a problem that you don't imagine is going to be resolved in the short term here. Sure. Not to say it never gets resolved, but that it's not going to be resolved, by this time next week. And then all of a sudden you're approaching their second preseason game and so on and so forth. So it's bad news for the Cowboys because he's their best player.
It's amazing how the Cowboys have supported Zeke regardless. Even from the beginning when they drafted him, there was an investigation in Ohio State. They've always supported him. Been a couple incidents off the field. They have supported him. And I was like, man, he's the best player on the team. They're going to pay him. I've seen Jerry support great players who had issues there in Dallas. That's the way Jerry, he is a player's owner. People talk about a player's coach. He is a player's owner because he will bat for you. He will vouch for you. He will even say things not necessarily true about you to be able to try to sway people. He is that type of strong salesman. But in doing this, Jenna, I believe what you told me. They holding everything that Zeke has done off the field, they're holding it against him. That's the reason why they're far apart in guarantees and in number of average per year. Exactly what you said. They have taken into consideration, can we trust this guy? And I was trying to put that on the back burner because I know Jerry, and I know how he supported the players, but I'm back to what you're saying, Jenna. I believe you. Yeah, they're looking at all that off-the-field stuff, and they're going to hold it against them, not publicly, but privately in this negotiation, and they're going to try to move this off until he's in the final year of his contract, where they've already paid Dak. They've already given Amari either the franchise tag or given him his extension because of we can't trust him long term. If they give him, he's got 2 years left. If they give him a minimum of a 3-year, he's under contract for 5 years. What are the chances of something happening? I believe the Dallas Cowboys are looking at that, and that's one of the big holdups in this deal.
How do you think this plays out, Nick?
Well, I mean, if their plan is what you guys are discussing as possible, which is we'll pay you in a year, then I think he misses games.
And is he getting fined right now?
$40,000 a day.
Every day that he misses training camp,
every day it's $40,000.
And then with games?
Well, you don't get your game check.
Okay.
I mean, that's what if you miss games. The way NFL players get paid is you take your salary, divide it by 17, you get that every week of the season. And so
everybody makes the same thing in training camp. Vested players and the rookies. There's a pay scale. Vested players make a certain amount. It's not a lot of money.
Yeah, it's nominal. It's not $40,000 a day. Right now, he's way in the negative.
I think it's less than $2,000 a week you make.
Okay.
Right. So training camp, just almost throw that aside. Sure. You get paid in the regular season. It's one of the reasons why, unfortunately, some of these guys sometimes take out loans in the offseason, waiting for the contract to come in, because you get all your money in those 4 months of the year. But Stephen Jones has now, in the last 2 days, said the same thing that I find really interesting, which is reminding everyone, guys, this money, whatever money we save on Zeke, is not going, he initially said in Jerry's pocket. Yesterday he added, he said Jerry's pocket or my pocket. When he was talking about Dak, Amari, and Zeke and not wanting to set contract standards, the high watermarks, he said, guys, any money we save goes to other players on the roster. His point being, and it's correct, we spend up to the cap every year. We're not a cheap team. We're not one of these teams that comes in at the salary floor 89%. So
they're also one of the highest earning teams. So don't cry poor.
There's no cry 100%. But his point is, and I think he's not just talking to the media there. I think he's talking to the players, where he's reminding them, hey guys, you can hold us over for all this money if you want, but that's your right tackle, Lyle Collins, the money we had for him. That's your corner, Byron Jones, the money we had for him. Now, I know your philosophy is that's their problem, and I agree with you in that. That is every player's in business for themselves. But Steven's trying to change the narrative a bit as far as it's not Zeke versus the Cowboys. It's Zeke versus the Cowboys and some other guys we'd like to pay, which could add some added pressure on him if he allows it.
There's 8 to 10 teams in the league can win. And on all these teams, they're talented players. The pie is still the same size for every team. So every owner should have that messaging point that Steven has. Listen, we're going to try to sign players. All right, we're going to try to win as many games as possible. Everything you can do to help me is going to help us. Kevin Durant took a little haircut. Kyrie Irving took a little haircut so they can add some other players to fulfill that whole roster. It becomes important when you're trying to win championships. That $3 million they gave Jason Witten, that could have been money well spent on something else. So while he's in Mexico, they're paying some old veteran players, so the pie is only so big. I think the messaging from Dallas has been good.
And the one other thing they said yesterday, which echoes exactly what you said yesterday morning, is Steven said, we believe there's an inherent value to being a Dallas Cowboy.
No doubt.
That there is, he didn't say this part, but I think it's true, particularly for offensive players, for guys who touch the football, meaning quarterback, wide receiver, running back. You have to build into it the same way we talk about, well, are you in a high tax state or a low tax state? You build that into your contract thoughts. How much money are you actually getting? He's saying, you stay a Cowboy, your value as far as earnings during and post-career is greatly enhanced than even being in Texas with the Houston Texans, certainly being in Florida with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Look at all the great Cowboys. Troy Aikman, where does he live? Oh, Dallas. Michael Irvin, where does he live? Dallas. Deion played a bunch of places. Where does he live? Dallas. Because they make money in Dallas.
The mistake Stephen Jones made was saying way back when that we're going to start these negotiations with Zeke at Gurley money. Now 100%. He's just trying to
That was a young general manager mistake.
Yes, it was from a not-so-young gentleman. Coming up, could Baker to Odell be the best QB wide receiver connection in the NFL? That is next on First Things First.
Did you just age shame Stephen Jones?
Stephen Jones.
Can we wiki if Jenna's older than...